dysfunctional of that. When the well was first drilled and we started removing fluid, this is what we got. And as you can see, it's got a lot of dirt in it. And that is the fact that we were still removing cuttings and we were pushing drilling fluid down inside of it. In this second one, now this is after we've been pumping the water for a little bit, you can see that it was coming out and it was almost 50%, roughly 50% dirt to water. Then we ended up with this yellowish color. Now a lot of this is going to be dirt, some of it's probably not iron anymore. The iron settled out. The last stage was this, which lasted for some time, and now we're consistently getting this. Just so you can see that it's got water in it. So this is what we're pumping out at this time. Now we're going to do water testing. We're going to be using a home safe do-it-yourself water test. It has 16 tests inside of it. We'll go over this real quick and then we'll do the actual tests themselves. As we're getting ready to do our test, we're going to check the temperature of our sample, which has sat out all night. That will give us an air temperature, and all that does is just let us know if our testing parameters in our kit has the right air temperature for testing. Sometimes if the air is too warm or too cool or something like that, it can affect the test. So as we read through the instructions, we want to make sure that we're in the testing range of our chemicals that's on the test strips. Now, this bottle of water that you see here has sat out all night, and it's recording a temperature. I'm going to grab that. I'm going to record it in my booklet because it has a place for documentation. Now, it doesn't ask for the temperature. However, this could be important if later you need to troubleshoot something, and I'll explain why in about 3 seconds. The only reference to temperature in this is storing of your chemicals, and then your presence, absence for E. coli. You see these red and green? When you're doing your tests, see you'll have your red like right up here, and right over here you have green. This is telling you that these are the ranges you want for these different tests. This is telling you that you're sort of in a dangerous area. And like for copper, they show at 1.3 being bad, so forth. Well, we're sitting at 62 degrees, so we are about to commence our tests. Our tools is the test package, the booklet, which has our tests with directions, and these are based on seconds, collection jar, writing device. So we'll also take a water sample and we'll test that temperature too, which will tell us what the temperature down hole is. Let's get started. For a timing device, I'll be using a stopwatch. We're going to turn the air on and we're going to let this pump for about 5 minutes before we take a sample. Between each sample, with the exception of measuring the temperature on the first one, we will rinse the jar out with water from the well and then fill it back up for the test. I turned on the airflow 12 seconds ago, and we're going to see how long it takes to come up. Now we're barely bleeding air in, and as I say, this thing works like a geyser. The external pressure to the drop stem produces the hydrostatic pressure that air bubble uses to push the water out with. I'm going to get my collection bottle, get it ready to be rinsed, and we'll set it aside. As soon as the water starts flowing, alright, took 44 seconds to start. Now we turn this on so we can give it 5 minutes. We can use a sample of water for this for temperature, this is not critical as far as being a fresh sample from the bore. Thermometer inside. Now we just give it a few minutes and we record this. I've dipped the nitrites. We're at 30 seconds and we're... First thing we want to do is rinse the jar and then collect a sample. First thing we're going to be testing is for chlorine, pH, and that sort of stuff. Alright, here's my sample. The instructions is to put the sample in there, spin it around for 5 seconds, shake it off, wait 10 seconds to fully develop the colors, and then read the colors within 20 seconds. So this is our 4-in-1. So let's check and see what we got. The next test is our copper, and this one's kind of weird. It says put the thing in and swish it back and forth for 15 seconds. Remove the strip, shake it off, wait 30 seconds, and while waiting, water, swish it around, fold the cover back so that you have an opaque viewing screen. So I'm going to do that one off camera. This is the coal alert test. Now it has some material in the bottom of it. I've been shaking it every so often to help dissolve that. What this checks for is E. coli. And the test is real simple. If it changes color, it's hot. If it's not, it isn't. I also happen to have a black light that I can test this with and see if it fluoresces. My total dissolved solids looked very high. It looked like it was about 750 or greater, which is not good. The next test that we have to do is we have to do the lead test, and this takes 10 minutes. I'll go through it real quick and then I will actually do the test. I'll record the start, I'll record the end. The test kit, you get a sample of water. Rinse your collecting deal. Get a sample of water, use a pipette, fill the test vial that's inside the kit to the level shown, swirl it gently to mix the reagent into it, then put your test strip in, leave it in an undisturbed area for 10 minutes. At the end of 10 minutes, come back, lay your test strip down with the arrow to the left, and then look for the graduations that appear, and that will give you your level of lead. There's our fill line right there. While this thing does work, it doesn't work great. It's supposed to fill it one time, but unfortunately, that helped. Alright, that's to the fill line. I have reagent in the bottom of it. Set the deal to run. Looking over this test again, there was no cap on the vial. But we do have it running. It's been 23 seconds. As I say, I filmed the start, I'll film the end. At 5 minutes, I'm getting a blue line. I don't know if that's going to come through. There it is. Getting a blue line, and that blue line is telling me that the water is safe at this time. Again, I've got another 4 or 5 minutes to go before I actually read it and see what it says. Alright, we got 10 minutes. We're going to pull the test strip out. We turn it to the left. See if I can zoom in on this little baby. There's my blue line right there. My arrow is pointed to the left. Pointed to the left. If you can see that arrow right there. So that's telling me that my water is safe. This doesn't tell me if I have lead in it, it just says that it's safe. So as soon as I get an actual water lab results back, we can compare apples to apples and see how accurate this test is. Again, this is the first time I've used it, so I may have made a few mistakes along the way. But all in all, the water sample looks really safe, except for not knowing about the lead and the high level of dissolved solids. That can come back and bite you depending upon what those solids are, in forms of like kidney stones and stuff like that. The test, the kit, dysfunctional vet, out.